wanted to thank you very much for coming, all of you, members, friends, directors, and it's such a wonderful day. But I think that we have a very special annual meeting today, and one of the reasons why it's so special is because we are here today to honor and to dedicate this classroom to Dick Perlot. He was a very close friend of ours and for the Alliance Française. And I would especially want to thank Betty for being here and the friends also for coming here to give us moral support. And I don't know, Betty, I think that you have some words.
I do. I want to thank you all for being here at this event, which is so important to my family and me. My family's not here, but one daughter just had an operation, and the other daughter is nursing a husband who had a biking accident and has a severe concussion. So they had flights to come and everything. But I have friends here to support me, and my friend Bernadette will take over my reading if I can't get through it. So, when Dick first started taking classes at the Alliance, the technology consisted of one TV and VCR. Little by little, he gave up studying the language and concentrated on turning the Alliance into a first-rate school with the latest technologies, from computers for the teachers in each classroom to a first-class website. He engineered online student evaluations, and everyone knows he was in charge when I planned a trip event. He expanded his role by serving on the board of directors as secretary and worked with Larry to find this new and wonderful space to house our school. Although he got discouraged occasionally with the amount of work to be done, sometimes he'd rather be on the golf course, he liked feeling needed and helpful. He often said he would never quit until his good friend Sylvia stepped down. It was not easy for him to leave in June last year. I found his Alliance keys in his car a few months after he passed and realized that he always felt he would go back to what he loved when his treatment was over. I only have one more paragraph.
Okay.
I was overcome with joy and gratitude by the decision of the board to honor Dick by naming this wonderful space the Perlot Room. My family and I will be forever grateful to the Alliance Française de Hartford.
Well, I feel that you might have said so many good things about all deserved, by the way, about Dick, that I don't want to expand on saying how wonderful he was for all of us and for the Alliance. So I thought about one little event that happened, that kind of illustrates very well, how committed he was with the Alliance. And I'm going to, after that, ask the other people who knew Dick to come up also with little stories. It was in Billy's Forge. We were there for the Beaujolais Nouveau, and Dick was in charge of the pictures. He had to bring some pictures that were going to be projected in the background. That was our event. So he was very important there. And he had taken those pictures from, during many of his travels to France with Betty, of course. And at one point, it was time to start the celebration, and Dick and Betty were missing in action. So we started to be very, very nervous. And then at the last minute, they came in with everything that they needed to bring, of course. And they had been detained in the hospital. They had spent the whole day in the hospital because of an emergency of.
My grandson was born.
I thought it was an emergency.
Well, he was born 5 weeks early, so it kind of was.
It was an emergency. Okay, so they had spent the whole day at the hospital, and here they were with everything. And Dick left, all his concerns, put all the concerns aside, and he started to put up all the the pictures, and of course, and a game that you guys have kind of, come up with. And of course, it was a very good, a great success. Like every time that you guys had something to do for the Alliance. So I think that illustrates how he was so reliable, and we just knew that we could count on him. So,
well, I have just a few words. It's wonderful to look around. Some people I know very well, but I think I'm the oldest one. Been here longer than anybody, 56 years with the Alliance Française, and Audrey is near me. Near me. Weren't you? Yes. Yeah. Well, the point is that we're all here together, and the reason we're all here together is because we've been to France and we've learned some French, and my conviction is that once you've had a bite, you have to have more. You have to eat more. When you've been to France, everybody wants to keep it in their lives, and that's why the Alliance Française exists, I think. And it's had ups and downs, obviously. I think this is just an up, definitely an up. This space and everything shows where it's come, and we're all still here, and some of us have been here a long while, doing different things. Everybody's done something. But there was a time when we were terribly sad. We had a wonderful executive director, Tracy Sigmund, who got sick, and it was evident that she wasn't going to continue. And yet we did have a newsletter, and we had classes to arrange, and we had other things that needed to be taken care of, and nobody really knew what to do or where to go with this. And so somebody gave me a name, and I called, and the person with whom I spoke said, well, let's meet. We'll meet in Farmington, in the little parking lot there, right on Route 10. We'll meet there, and we'll see what we can do. And So I went. I didn't know really who I was meeting or what I was going to say, but we really needed somebody who knew everything about the organization, who could pull it together at this time, because it was a sad time for all of us when we lost Tracy. And so I parked in the parking lot, and a car drove in, and somebody got out, and who do you think it was? It was Dick. And it was sort of, I envisioned it sort of as a magic something. It was magical. He came, and we were the only two people there, and I thought, this is amazing. I had a very weird feeling about it, that he should have arrived in a puff of smoke. But it was magic. And I knew then, from talking to him very quickly, that this fella, who I never had known before, was going to save us, was going to save the Alliance. And as you know, that's exactly what happened in every way. He was the savior of it at that particular time. So here we are, all still here, all of us still wanting to take a bite of France and keep it in our lives. And a lot is thanks to Dick. Thank you.
So my name's Audrey Fay, in case you don't know me. And this one's not going to be as good as her story. So when I first met Dick, it was when I came onto the board, I think, and Dick and Betty invited me out to dinner. So I just thought that was so nice of them, and we went to a restaurant that's nearby. We're nearby the town hall, West Hartford Town Hall, where we also have our meetings, some of our meetings. And he paid for dinner, and I just thought that was really, really sweet of him. And then I don't know if Sylvia's going to speak later, but she moved at one point, and he helped her to move. And he was such a giving, loving person that you know, to know Dick was to love him. Thank you.
He really took me in hand when I started. It's been 6 years, and I started right away with Dick. The most significant thing he did was he invited me to play golf at Southington Country Club, and really made me a friend. And he was a great friend, of course. And the other thing I remember about Dick is he would set me up at home. This is just sort of a technical issue, but it was important to me. And I could sit there and look at my screen exactly as though I was sitting in the office. And then whenever that would break down, which of course technology, inevitable that it would, he would invite me over to his home in Southington, and we'd sit in the basement with Betty, and he'd get it straightened out. And what I'd also do is I'd also figure out a couple of other things that were wrong with my computer. And needless to say, that
While you're here.
While I'm here. Yeah, he's a great guy. And what would happen too with the classes is that if the teachers had a problem of technology, rather than call me, thank God, they'd call Dick directly during class or just before class, and he was always available and would help them out. He's very patient. So no, he was a good friend, and we're going to miss him, obviously.
I'm Julie Lindquist, and I don't have a long-term knowledge of Dick, but I have a very sort of perfect moment that happened last July when we were over in Newport with the arrival of the Hermione, Lafayette's ship that came into Newport, and a group of us from this Alliance went over. And afterward, we were to have a reception where the captain was to appear. And it was a very warm day, as I recall, at the Villa Santa Maria School. Is that the name of the school? Mm-hmm. And those of us who were there were sitting around talking, and I had met Dick just to shake hands at a couple of events, but so I decided to walk over and talk with him, and the captain didn't come, and the longer he didn't come, the more chance I had to talk with Dick. And he and I talked perhaps a half an hour. That half an hour was so precious because all the things that you all have said about him were there in a nutshell, and I came away just feeling the Alliance is so fortunate to have somebody like this. He seems to have no boundaries, no attitudes that would be negative. He was just there, and the various topics that we touched on were so open and comfortable. It was precious. So I felt very fortunate to have had this extremely brief but poignant exchange with Dick. I also want to say now that I am so pleased that Susie Smith is here, because she's the one who really has been responsible for this chapter being what it has become. And Sylvie Bottega, who's been president for
Many years.
So we all have our toe in the water there, but it's so exciting to see the Alliance having grown, to see the school that is functioning so well, the professors, the board members. Things have just been wonderful, and the director as well. So.
I'd like to kind of piggyback on what Julie was talking about. First of all, I would have to say that when we realized how many people we had to find to replace Dick, we realized what a gem he was. Not that we didn't know in the beginning. But above and beyond everything that he did for the Alliance, I think all of us have such personal connections, and that really speaks to Dick as the individual. Sylvia talked about the night at Billings Forge, and I can think of another occasion when I was showing a movie. Betty was homesick, but Dick was there helping me with the movie. And that was the thing about Dick. He was always there. He was so humble. He didn't expect praise. He didn't expect any accolades. But he was not the sprinter. He was the marathon. He was in it for the long haul. And we knew that we could count on him. And, you know, it's such a loss for all of us, both personally and as an organization. But it was such a joy to know Dick. Aside from all of the things that he did for us, I have to say, on a personal level, he spoke to me many times about retiring. And years and years went by. You know, you can retire. You can actually end up with more money when you retire than when you're teaching. And I never really believed him until I retired. And he was right. And now Sylvia finds jobs, so it's okay. I have to say that it was an honor to know him, and above and beyond all of the technology, we are so lucky to have this room named in honor of Dick, because he's in our hearts always, and this is just a reminder of that.
I would like to say a few words too.
Should I? Yes, come to the front.
Hi everyone. I wanted to say a few words about Dick because Dick was a very important key player in the theater project that we started back in 2003. Just a very short story. I remember the first time we had a little mini performance in the hallway on the 3rd floor on Pearl Street. The troupe is here actually. Not everybody is here. Jerry, Jane, Jen. We wanted to do something a little different, so we set up a little decor in the hallway and next to this classroom. And at the time, Dick was a student. So he was in the classroom and he heard some noises outside. So he peeked and then he sneaked out somehow and he watched a little bit of a performance. And he came to see me and he said, "Sylvie, this is wonderful. You gotta do this every year. And I will be here to videotape it." And he pushed me to do it. And since every single year we put on a performance, and I remember him inside the gallery downstairs. This is where Tracy was here. And I remember she helped me tremendously to make it great. And Dick Perlot would show up for the rehearsal a few hours before the performance. And he wanted to make the lighting great. And he did, so he would, grab a table and jump on the table and try to say, "Hey, how about that, and how about that?" And yeah, that's great. And then the troupe came and we started to rehearse. And at the time, Phil was here and he was beating Jerry to death because one of the play was Moliere and he wanted to punish her. And all of a sudden, I see Dick cracking up, laughing, crying, because he had never seen Phil and Jerry in this very funny position, I gotta say. And every year we did that. And he was always here to videotape and assist and help. And I have all the DVDs, because not only he videotaped it, but he produced the DVDs.
Absolutely.
And I have a stack of DVDs like that.
He spent so much time here.
He did.
He
did.
Every
He did
Sunday, I
DVDs
think.
for every
Yeah.
member of the troupe.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we cherish them.
Right, we do, huh? So, thank you, Betty. Because you allow it too.
Yes, that's important.
And while he was doing all these things, Betty was running the school.
I know.
So I have a few words. I want to see that in front of me. Everything that was said, that's all he was, his generosity, his kindness, and just looking at them, it was so uplifting to see a couple so loving, so wonderful. And always, Dick, somehow, anytime I looked at them, Dick's arm was around Betty's shoulder. And I am technologically very challenged, so I did not care about all the technology, and he was so nice, he understood that. So when I said to him, when we went to Newport, I don't want those, the Google, I want you to give me the real directions, how to get there. And by the time I got home, there it was in my email. Nice this, I could print it out and take that paper the way I liked him. So we're gonna miss him a lot, and I think of him a lot, and I think of you, and I'm glad you are back.
Thank you.
So I just have two things. One is I'd like to echo that what Dick has made the organ. He was a foundation, because I remember the days when we only had that TV and the VCR, and the VCR didn't really work that well. So I remember back then. And it was sort of like a wave. All of a sudden we're like, we have DVD players. Where did those come from? We have flat screen TVs. Where did that come from? And then when we got the internet, we were here. But he did all that. And so I just wanted to echo that. But the other thing is, he gave me the name of a really good brand of Calvados. So I can't forget him ever because of that.
A man of many parts.
So that's it for.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm Jerry Pease, and I was a member of the theater troupe, and we so much appreciated that Dick would come and film the rehearsals and the performances. And the rehearsals, you know, sometimes we would play it over, and you know, Sylvia would be able to say, "Now see, you know, you're supposed to be doing something else instead of what you were doing." So we had that, and then also in the film classes that I was in with Marco, and he was a big help in getting the technology so that we could enjoy the films, and it was just great. So we appreciated it.
So I'm going to very briefly talk about the trips, because when I think of the trips from the Alliance Française, I think of Betty and Dick on the bus to the Clark, to different points in Massachusetts, New York, Rhode Island. And I always remember that you sat together, the two of you. And I remember on one trip, we lost some of the people. Dick was he was a little bit annoyed, but he found them. He was very happy. And so I'll always think of the two of you together. Thank you.
Remember who we found.
They weren't some of our regular members. They were maybe Sharon. You don't remember? Okay.
Maybe Sharon?
No, Sharon. We didn't lose Sharon.
Museum of Modern Art.
Oh, I don't know. Well, anyway, anybody else would like to say something about it? No. Okay. Well, so I think that, you know, you got a good idea of how wonderful we feel about